So let's talk about Donald Trump, Bill Barr, and a little something I like to call a pocket pardon. Because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So Donald Trump took a few minutes out of his busy schedule of tweeting lies about how he won the presidential election to castigate his Attorney General, Bill Barr. So let's use as a jumping off point some of today's reporting about that. This headline from the New York Daily News: Trump slams Supreme Court for refusing to overturn election and lashes out at Attorney General Bill Barr. This from U.S. News and World Report. In a statement, Hunter Biden said that the U.S. Attorney's Office in Delaware was investigating his tax affairs, which he, Hunter Biden, said he handled legally and appropriately. Trump retweeted a comment from a radio host saying Barr should be fired, with Trump adding, quote, "a big disappointment," referring to Bill Barr. Barr's fate in the waning days of the Trump administration has been in question since he said last week that a Justice Department investigation had found no sign of major fraud in the November election, contradicting Trump's false claims. And yeah, Donald Trump was a little bit upset about all of this, as can be seen in some of his tweets. When Trump said things like, quote, "Why didn't Bill Barr reveal the truth to the public before the election about Hunter Biden? Joe was lying on the debate stage that nothing was wrong or going on. Press confirmed. Big disadvantage for Republicans at the polls." And then he followed up with this tweet, which I can't make heads or tails of, but "If Biden gets in, nothing will happen to Hunter or Joe. Barr will do nothing. And the new group of partisan killers coming in will quickly kill it all. Justice took too long. Will be DOA." That's a lot of talk of killing, Mr. President. So as I say, Donald Trump was a little upset with Bill Barr. So now let's turn to the topic of pardons, because when I heard Bill Barr first say that there was no major election fraud, right, Bill Barr might as well have said, "Look, folks, Joe Biden won the election fair and square." When I first heard that, I thought, okay, Donald Trump is not going to like that, right? An understatement, I know. But then my mind next went to pardons, right? Because Bill Barr is not going to announce there was no election fraud, Trump loses, Biden wins, and then walk into the Oval Office and ask Donald Trump for a pardon. That would be like me screwing up big at work and then marching into the boss's office and asking for a big raise. It doesn't work that way. So that's when I started to think that if Bill Barr was willing to go on the record publicly and say there was no election fraud, Bill Barr must already have his pardon. But then I think that raises the natural question: we haven't heard about a pardon. There's been no announcement. There was no press release. But here's the thing. There is no requirement that for a pardon to be legal, that it has to be public. You can actually have something called a pocket pardon. So if Donald Trump grants a pardon to Bill Barr, hypothetically, if Donald Trump doesn't announce it publicly, and if Bill Barr doesn't announce it publicly, if there's no public mention of it whatsoever, it's still a lawful pardon. It's just a pardon that is being hidden from the public. It's a pocket pardon. So when might a pocket pardon have to be pulled out of one's pocket? In January, when we have a law-abiding Attorney General, and that Attorney General hopefully directs that grand jury investigations need to be conducted on Donald Trump and his possibly criminal executive branch officials, that's when evidence will begin to be presented to the grand jury fully, fairly, ethically, aggressively, and apolitically. And the grand jury will make some decisions sitting as the conscience of the community about whether these criminal Trump administration officials should be charged with crimes. Let's assume, hypothetically, the grand jury finds enough evidence that Bill Barr has committed crimes to indict him. That's when Bill Barr would have to pull out of his pocket the pardon and hold it up in defense of the criminal indictment, in defense of the criminal charge, and say, I can't be charged or tried because Donald Trump granted me a pardon. What happens at that point? Well, the Supreme Court decided a case in 1866 called Ex parte Garland. And in that case, the Supreme Court said, we have the power, we have the authority to decide issues involving the scope of a presidential pardon. And I would argue by implication, they can decide the legality, the constitutionality of a presidential pardon. So I assume, as I'm betting many of you all do, that Donald Trump will begin to deliver him some pardons, right? He'll pardon himself, probably not constitutional, but for the sake of argument, let's say he pardons himself, he pardons his family members, he pardons his friends, he pardons his criminal associates, he pardons his co-defendants, he pardons his accessories after the fact, he pardons his aiders and abettors, he pardons his criminal enablers, pardons them all. He will have the ability to do that, right? He can have them printed up and he can sign them. He can deliver all these pardons to all these people. And then the courts will have the authority and the ability to review those presidential pardons to determine whether they're lawful, whether they're constitutional, or whether they're corrupt and invalid. The courts will have the authority to do it because justice matters. It matters. And as always, folks, thank you for tuning into these videos. If you would like to support our all-volunteer effort here, you can go over to patreon.com and you can sign up to become a patron and support our efforts and our content. If you do, I will send you some Team Justice stickers with a personal handwritten note of thanks. And of course, you can always follow me also on Twitter. I am on Twitter way too much, all day and night, trying to answer your legal questions. And my Twitter handle is @GlennKirshner2. So whether at patreon.com or Twitter or right here on YouTube, I greatly appreciate you. Oh, and I should say we have recently started a Facebook page, Justice Matters with Glenn Kirshner. I know some people like Facebook, some people shy away from Facebook. We decided that we want to try to reach the broadest audience possible, including people who might have very different views of the legal issues of the day. And I welcome that open dialogue and discussion as long as it's civil with everybody and anybody. As I always say, we are Team Justice, and Team Justice is a big tent. All are welcome. So I would also invite you, if you're so inclined, to come over to our Facebook page, Justice Matters with Glenn Kirshner. And as always, folks, stay safe, stay tuned, and I very much look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.